Right, guys, we're live. I think this. I don't know how long the sound's been live for, which is a bit weird. But we're live. I'm waiting for Baz. He's too busy out there making cups of tea and stuff. So Sarah is in the building. By the way, you might be able to hear her dulcet, brummy tones in the background. Are you monitoring this video, by the way, Joe?
Just about to. I didn't know you went live so early.
Well, it's not really early, is it?
Tempted.
No, I was sick and tired of waiting for Baz, to be honest, because he's just seemed to be faffing about. The breaking news is Henry Onyekuru has just signed for Monaco. He signed a 5-year deal. It's an undisclosed fee. We'll wait and see whether we get a price through the socials. Right, let's get over to Patreon. Okay, let's get it going. Gary Ward says, howdy guys. Hello, Gary. Richie Rowland says, this graphic makes it look like you guys are about to make out. I know, I don't like it. I also look like I've got jaundice on the picture. We're live just on Patreon, I think. Stephen Kelly says, all right, lads, hope you had a good weekend. Where do you stand on the criticism of plays in general? I personally thought Gylfi and Dominic Calvert-Lewin were really poor at the weekend, and Gylfi really needs to up his game. Goes missing for too much for me. Thought the player ratings were spot on. Ped, I think it had to be the same. To me, I didn't do the final word. Sarah did the final word with Baz. I think we get too upset over the first game of the season. I always think the first game of the season, there's so many mad results, and we've seen that with Burnley beating Southampton and Brighton winning 3-0. So I always think that. That first game of the season is just always mad. Really, it's always mad. So I'm not gonna get too upset with the performances. I still think a lot of the players are in sort of like pre-season mode, and I think it takes them. We used to always say, didn't we, that the pre-season, the season didn't really get going until after the first international break, because that's when that's when the transfer window would shut. So I'm not really too worried at the moment about. It'll take a few games, and Gylfi Sigurdsson's the type of player that it might take him 3 or 4 competitive games to get him going. So, yeah, we'll wait. I'm not too worried on that. A bit of lag in the show at the moment. Is it gone live yet? Yeah. Sorry. You've only just got the show. I'm afraid. So at the moment, I'm not too worried about players. I think the most important part is that you get through the first month of the season and just make sure that you don't have any defeats if you can. I think what we've seen is that the likes of Man City and Liverpool, the teams who are ready, they get off to a great start. Other teams, the class will show, like Tottenham, but it will take a month for everyone to settle down into the season. It really will. It'll take a month. So I'm not getting too worried at the moment. Terry Cook says, wasn't surprised with the results Saturday. We'd only won 5 of our last 20 opening games and drawn 6 of the last 10. We never really start well. No, we won. I think we won a couple of years ago, didn't we, against Stoke, and followed that up with a draw against Man City, and then ironically then went on and had a really bad run. So from that point of view, I'd rather start with a draw and then build up and get better. Last season we started with a draw, didn't we? Then won our home game. So hopefully we can do the same this year and then go to Villa Park and get a win. But that first month, it takes time, and we've got loads of new players who have hardly trained yet. So it's difficult because we all want this new thing, but it's still the players from last season, and we're down a player, aren't we? Essentially, in midfield. Okay, Mina's coming for Kurt Zouma, so that's not too drastic, but that player in midfield is difficult to replace in Ghana. Dave Wild says, I was amazed at the negativity after Gabaman's debut. What did people expect after 1 week's training in the squad? Yeah, I thought that was really bad. Number one, the lad's had a week's training. He's come back from the African nations. He's never played in the Premier League before. Very, very difficult and come on in a game as well. For me, I thought Tom Davies should have come on, but that's up to the manager. The manager thought he could go on and do a job. I think the manager should have brought Tom on, but I think again Baz has looked at his stats on the final word and Joe, do me a favour, go and tell Baz to get in here. Honest to God, I can hear him rabbiting outside. I'm live. So I'm not too upset with that. I think people again just basically get caught up too much in players, and it's the first game of the season. Everyone just needs to relax a little bit and stop worrying so much about everything that's gone on in that game. It takes time. Oh, it's Baz.
I just made you a drink.
Baz has just turned up for the live stream.
I just made you a drink. It's nice to see you're actually on doing something.
Oh, sorry. Apparently I've not been doing anything today.
No. Just technical stuff. You're doing loads of technical stuff. That's brilliant. I just mean, in general. What are we on? What's happening? The people aren't fuming, are they?
People are asking about the fume, basically.
Oh, okay. That's sound.
That's
sound.
Stephen Kelly says, what do you lads make of the first use of VAR this weekend?
Ooh. In some games I thought it was good. In other games, what did you make of Sterling's goal being? Gabriel Jesus' goal being disallowed.
Do you know what? Right, I watched. I'm not too worried, essentially, but I watched a quite interesting video with Andy Gray.
Oh yeah.
For being Sport, and he made a really good point of saying about the linesman, the video operator, and what frame does he stop the video and then use the magic device.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he looked at it and he showed that there was 3 different frames when the ball was at the player who played it into Sterling's feet.
Yeah.
And he said in 2 of the frames, Sterling's onside, and in 1 of the frames he's offside. And it all comes down to what frame he decides, because in terms of TV, you can break that moment down into so many frames.
Yeah.
And he said that all comes down to subjectiveness of what the linesman thinks. So, on that, what I would say from that is, number one, for years the linesman hasn't had a chance to break down that frame.
No.
But number two, what I would say is, if that's the case, then we need to make a change in the offside rule.
Yeah. Because
Andy Gray's absolutely right. Don't get me wrong, the video, right? I've got no problem with the video and showing it and him being offside, because he's offside, and whether it's by an armpit or whatever. As the law stands now, I've got no problem with that. But I do think that we might need to change the law, because what that law is saying to you is, well, it's anything. So the linesman will look across the line, wouldn't he, in normal play? And
why am I looking?
I know. And he will look across the line and he will try and see if something's sticking out.
Yeah.
Right? And that will give him the indication whether something's offside.
Of course,
but now, because he's got the technology, he doesn't need to do that. So maybe we need to make the offside a little bit more black and white and say, well, actually, if our bodies are together, then I'm not offside.
Yeah.
And you get that advantage at one end anyway. So let's make it so that there has to be some kind of something that's actually that allows the general person to go, well, yeah, he's offside. Because Sterling's not offside, really. He's not. If you know,
you're talking on like a millimetres of an arm, aren't you? Whereas really, when like I'd play and the offside, I'd just make sure I was in line with your body, whether my leg was ahead, and then I'd go. because I used to play, when I played up front, I used to play on the shoulder. So try to literally be level with you as the ball's knocked, and I'd be going.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't say my leg or my arm wasn't ahead of you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I've got no comeback on someone that says to me, "You've millimetres offside, so he's offside."
Yeah.
I can argue all day and go, "Yeah, but was it? Is it the right decision?" And people can turn around and go, "Well, you're offside, so regardless." I get that, but I just think, how do you break it down? You're right. I think there needs to be a rule change.
Apologies if the video was a little bit choppy. As long as the sound's okay, it's just it might be my laptop trying to do a couple of things, too many things at once.
Got some things here.
Go on.
Off Carl Molyneux. Hello, lads. Do you think Keane and Iwobi should start against Watford? I think those two will create more goal-scoring opportunities.
No, I don't think that. I think I don't understand the criticism of anyone really on the only criticism I have of any player that played Saturday is that maybe they should have worked a little bit harder in pre-season. But what I would say is the likes of Gylfi Sigurdsson, the likes of Dean, the likes of Bernard, every single one of those players, pre-season simply for me isn't enough. Because I'll repeat this, I don't think we played games at a high intensity enough in pre-season. And whether that comes down because the squad's not strong enough, so that allows players to play for like an hour flat out. I think too many players cruise through pre-season, and I think we've got to start playing games at a more intense level. But on the flip side of that, it normally takes everyone a good month at any team. But the difference is, like I said before, is a Man City or Liverpool, they start the season like they finish the season because they've got the best players, the best managers, and they know the systems. Whereas for all the rest of us, we're all trying to find what our systems are. We're all trying to integrate our new players. We're trying to get our players back. And it doesn't... So Liverpool, Friday night, I didn't watch it, but apparently they didn't play well, but they still scored 4 goals, right? And everyone's like, yeah, but the defence... fancy me chances against this season. First game of the season, they did what they do easily. Man City did the same thing. Man City could pass the ball around all day like that and create chances like that. It's second nature for them. It's what they've been taught by the manager. Everton was still a melting pot of different things, and we're not up to that level. But at some point in the next month, hopefully we'll get to that level. What you hope for in the meantime is that you can settle all your players in and you don't lose games.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it would have been interesting seeing City v Liverpool, because I think City would have been 4-0 up on Liverpool. But
we seen that the week before, didn't we?
But,
Man City had a great half. Liverpool had a great half.
Yeah. I think for me, the pre-season thing, and you've said that before, I don't know how you make it more intense, because I watched Spurs and Villa, and Spurs have had some big games this summer. They played Real Madrid and everyone. But Villa were very comfortable against Tottenham. Tottenham were poor until Dembele scored. You know, certainly the first half, Villa were playing them on the counter-attack. Scored, could have got another one. And then with just Spurs come and put some pressure, but nothing was working for Tottenham, nothing was clicking. And then it looked like, with 20 minutes to go, Villa might actually be able to hang on, because Spurs had run out of ideas. And then Ndombele whacks one in, it was a beauty. And then obviously Villa are hanging on. 86 minutes, Jack Grealish gets caught in possession, drops the cane, bang, goal, and they've won the game. And that was like with Liverpool, chance, goal, Salah, goal. You know, Man City, Sterling, you know, goal, Jesus, goal. And you're right there they're so well integrated into the way they want to play. It's ingrained on them. And when you add top-class players into that mix...
Yeah, I think for the difference from like Tottenham is it clicked when it needed to click. And they've got new players in and they've got players out. So they may... But I just think that it's going to take time for Everton. I think we're still... It doesn't all come together first game of the season. You're going from playing games which mean nothing to a week later playing in a game that means everything. It's not... And remember Koeman's first year, where for the first month we beat Sunderland 3-0, even though Sunderland actually could have scored a couple of goals that night before we scored our first.
We beat Middlesbrough
when they went 1-0.
We went 1-0 down and we got back into it, but it was still an even game. So we went
simply, it was Lukaku's goals.
Yeah.
And
then West Brom away.
And then when everything evened out, I think we beat Stoke 1-0 as well. And when everything evened out, we didn't win a game for 10 games.
Yeah,
So we played
1-1 and 10.
Yeah.
And we beat Arsenal, didn't we?
And
And then we got the groove then, didn't we?
And then we got into the groove then, and things started to get better. But that's what I'm saying. It's like sometimes you can get through the first month, and it's purely on pot luck. You might have a striker in form. As I said, look at that Burnley result, and look at Brighton's result. That's not going to carry on for the rest of the season.
The Burnley game was mad. Southampton weren't brilliant, don't get me wrong, but Southampton looked more likely to score than Burnley. And the next minute, they're 2-0 down. 2 goals in quick succession. Watford against Brighton. Watford didn't play well. Brighton won't win 3-0 away again, I don't think, this season, because they rode the luck and got the goals. It happens. You know, Liverpool got the breakthrough the other night from a player slicing the ball into his own net.
Yeah.
And you'd have that little bit of good fortune. And what Everton have got to do is get the players up to speed and try to just get the 3 points this Saturday against Watford in what will be a tough game. But it's just about the points at the moment. You're absolutely right. After everything will settle down after the international break. Yeah. So if Everton can win 3 out the next 3, it'd be brilliant. But if Everton can certainly win 2 and draw another 1 out of the next 3 games, then 8 points from the opening 12 won't be a bad return for a time when you're trying to settle players in. Don't get me wrong. From Saturday, we didn't have Sidibe involved. We didn't have Fabian Delph involved. We didn't have Alex Iwobi involved. Yeah. You know, we lost Andre Gomez after 40-odd minutes. Jean-Philippe Gbamin came on and played for 45 minutes. Moise Keane come on for 20 minutes or so. So, you know, we've had players out as well who will make a difference to the team. And I suppose it's like last season. How often do we say the team that started the season didn't look anything like the team that finished the season or near enough? So we've just got to hang on coattails for now until we get that rhythm going. And I know what Carl's saying. Keane and Iwobi will make more creativity for us. I don't think Iwobi will start at the weekend. He's only trained a couple of days, I believe, because he was away with the AFCON. So, you know, he'll probably be on the bench. But again, depending on who's available Saturday, he might have to play.
I personally don't think he should have brought on Gbamin on Saturday. I think he should have brought on Tom.
What do you think? And that's fine, and hindsight's brilliant, right? But was that your first thought at the time? Yeah, okay, that's fine, if that's your first thought. Mine wasn't. I had no issue with Gbamin coming on. And I would guess that 99% of Evertonians had no issue with Tom Davies not coming on at that point.
I know, but the problem
after it, a hell of a lot were great at telling you what should have been the sub.
The problem is, though, is the manager knows the levels of the lad. And I just didn't think... I think Tom, at times, it's too easy to overlook what he does.
Possibly.
And I think that him coming on, he could have played the role
Gomez.
No, Snarden could have gone more into the role of Gomez, and he could have done give us the energy in midfield. What I mean is by that is using the ball like Gomez and Davis having the energy.
Snarden doesn't do that though.
No, I know, but I think that's for me. I think once Gbamin come on, we'd lost that threat and not having those levels and being thrust into a game. Not for me. I found it strange that Tom was overlooked for that moment.
He done well when he come on. I know he was only on for 15 minutes, but I thought he done well. Carried the ball well. What Tom's brilliant at is winning your clever free kicks as well. He's really good at it, and people overlook it, and he uses the ball well. I just think he probably looked at the physicality that they had in the centre of the park. And that Milivojevic, how the hell he didn't walk, I'll never know.
He's a dog.
Absolute dog. 9 fouls, Schneidlin 4 fouls and walked. I'm not defending Schneidlin, he absolutely deserves to be sent off for. But Milivojevic, 9 fouls, John Moss just bottled it.
Toffee Boy says, hi lads, any truth in Balassi to Celtic rumours? Reckon he could tear it up in Scotland?
I'll be honest, I don't know.
I think that'd be a great move.
That'd be a great move.
Because I think there's talk of Scott Sinclair moving, but I don't know where he'd move to because obviously our window's shut now. Yeah. But he's restless, so that's the Rangers have started the season really well. I think that could be a really good move for Balassi going up. I think he'd do well up there.
He's trying to get him to Moscow because they wanted him, but after the racist stuff with Malcolm, and he even come out the other day and just said no thanks, and I don't blame him.
No.
Absolutely don't blame him.
His family and everything, though,
yeah,
as well,
I
isn't
wouldn't
it?
go
It's not
anywhere near.
Not just. What about, so Henry Onyekuru's gone.
Yeah,
That's
he's
happened,
gone, yeah.
undisclosed fee.
It's €13.5 million rising to 15.
There you go. There it is right there. There's the headline. So, never kicked the ball for Everton.
Nope. Bit sad, I suppose, or a little bit, not sad, but a little bit curious, I think is the right word, as to what, I just wonder if he could have offered something for us. However, you either trust the manager and Marcel Brands or you don't. And I had a conversation with someone in the, you know, the analytics and the scouting thing about Henry Onyekuru. And the feeling was that he's best off the left.
Yeah.
And the overriding thing, I think, as well, was there was a real doubt as to whether he could do it in England.
Yeah.
Just given his frame and stuff. I don't know.
He is very small.
He's slight.
I have
You've
met him,
haven't you? So he's slight. Looks decent. We'll see. We'll see. Who knows? He could end up back in England in a few years. But the other thing is, we weren't getting a work permit for him any time fast.
Yeah, so
the AFCON's just gone. He played 12 minutes.
Just one of those things. Russell Thornton says, it was great to see Mina and Keane already starting to click, going to pray to whatever God will help bless Mina's feet from injuries going forward.
He'll be fine.
Or flying elbows going after Keane's head.
Yeah, that is true.
It'd be interesting, sorry, I was just going to say very quickly, it would be interesting to know whether the injuries Mina picked up last season when he played for us, not the one he got beforehand, whether they would keep him out the team this year.
I think the foot one would, because it wasn't a reoccurrence, but it was the same thing. They've given him a special boot now, haven't they, to protect it. I was interested in Marco Silva's comments about Mason Holgate, just saying that about concentration levels and about his ambition and desire.
This last week.
What he said today is his ambition and desire. It's up to him whether he wants to be part of it.
In other words, concentrate on football, go after what you want, don't worry about anything else, it'll all fall into place.
Hard. Mason's got has got all the tools to be a top centre-back, I think,
and he's played, don't forget, this is a kid who's played in Merseyside derbies, played in some really big games, has got 25, maybe more Premier League games under his belt already, or around that kind of thing. This lad, he's got pace, he's got physicality, he's all right in the air, he's good with the ball at his feet, but it is that concentration, it is knowing what's going on around you. Now,
keep talking.
Playing with someone next to him like Michael Keane certainly will help him, I think.
Yeah.
Having someone next to him, but we'll wait and see. I mean, I'm not sitting here thinking, I can't wait to see him play, because I want the two lads we've got in now to play, because I believe in them. But he's got to make himself an option. So we'll wait and see.
I'm just looking for the quote from Marco Silva.
Keep looking for quotes. Toffee Boy again says, obviously we all joked about Zuma playing for the move yesterday, but should we just move on and have someone probably from the French league lined up in January the 1st? They will just move on, I imagine, because he's Chelsea centre-back, and we all have to move on. We've seen the Zuma thing with the picture of Zuma and Silva, and are we genuinely going to sit round and wait for Zuma, wait for Zaha, when we just paid nearly 30 million for Iwobi? Are we going to go back for Zaha, or is that chip gone now? So I'm not worried about those players. That's done and dusted as far as I'm concerned. Terry McKenna says, check out the blue neon. It's boss, isn't it? It's going to look even better once it's all finished, properly done. Daniel Vickers, Henry Onyekuru's just joined Monaco. Who is next out?
Sounds like Balassi, doesn't it?
Maybe Balassi, maybe Morales. Chris Donahue says, hello lads. Is our fan base changing? I have grown up with every blue I know is knowledgeable footy, and most are realistic in terms of where we are, or where we want to be. The shouts after that game I really don't recognise them as blues that has happened to turn them into telly clappers. Everyone has an opinion, but some were just mad. Right, well, no, blues haven't changed. Blues haven't changed. What's changed is that you now get, we're now more susceptible and more open to more of them. We can all see everybody's opinions every day now on Twitter. And when someone has a terrible opinion, or you feel like it's a terrible opinion, someone will go, oh, look at this. Dope. And it starts getting shared around. Or other people with that similar opinion will jump on it.
Can't find that.
So what basically happens is that they all just bounce around. But they've always been there. Listen, people always have opinions on anything. But if you don't, what you tend to have in life is people, you surround yourself with people who are generally very similar to you, because otherwise you probably wouldn't get on, and they're called your mates. So if you're of one certain way, you're going to have those people around you, and you'll all generally have, you might have disagreements over things, but I doubt there'll always be mad disagreements. Like you might say around and go, thought so and so was poor today, and you can go, oh, I thought he was all right. Or Baz can say, oh no, I would have put Gabama on, and I'll say, well, I would have put Tom Davies on. That's fine. It's when people say Gabama come on and he was shite, and that means he's shite forever. And it's that kind of thing. I see this a lot with Evertonians. It's that idea of, well, we might as well be negative about them. I remember people telling me the first game Davy Klassen played, that he was shite, he was never a Premier League player. Right? Well, fine. Those people may have been proved right. Well, nice one for you. Nice one for you that you thought Davy Klassen could not improve and could never get better or whatever. People say, oh, Wayne Rooney, why'd you bring him back? Absolute shite. Well, he wasn't, was he?
No.
But people still say, well, can change that narrative. It's so easy to change a narrative now to whatever fits you. And unfortunately, you see that loads on social media. You're not allowed to change your opinion, apparently, on social media. People like things to go badly, so it fits in with their narrative. And that's the problem, isn't that? That is the number one bugbear with social media, is everything's on record. I see people come to me, I seen someone at the weekend say, you're dead negative. And I was like, I'm dead negative? Why am I dead negative? I actually was quite positive in the summer. And they brought up a tweet from the 27th of July that I said, the squad's shite.
Did you?
Yeah. And know what I turned around to him and said? Well, because on the 27th of July, it was shite, because we bought 4 players after the 27th of July and tried to buy 2 more players. So the manager thought like me, because the squad was shite on the 27th of July. It was, though, because every game we played, every sub was for either a kid or Morales. So since then, and I stand by that on the 20th of July, the squad...
He wanted 3 more, didn't he?
Exactly. And that's not me being negative. That's just me pointing out a fact, that the squad was very light.
The way you look at it, right? And I thought this the other day. On Friday or something, can't remember, it was Friday, it might have been, someone was saying how much they'd enjoyed the live feed, you know, the deadline day thing, and loads of people were going, it was brilliant, it was great, it was this. And this fella, whatever he is, I don't know what he said something, and I seen someone react going, well, all right, but just don't watch it then. So we had a look at his thing, and he was like, I don't know what, he just said, I don't watch them. So I just give him a thumbs up, like, and then he was like, something like, he said something to me like, you call yourself Baz, so that's why I don't watch you, or something. And you and the other fella are annoying, or something. And I was like, well, you just said you don't watch me for a start. Yeah. Secondly, other people call me Baz. My name's Barry. That was what I was christened. I didn't choose my name, that's my name. And if other people call me Baz, I've got no issue with it. That's up to you. Call me, I answer to most things, to be honest. And then everyone jumped on him and ripped him, and I finished it by saying, mate, you look like a dickhead, see you later, because he did. And blocked him, and on I went. But then I was thinking, I was like, you've pissed me off there, mate, because you're trying to make assumptions about us that allegedly you don't watch us. Yeah. And even though everyone was saying it was great, that one dickhead was annoying me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But then I thought, well, hang on, if I went into a pub, regardless of whether the Liverpool fans, Everton fans, anyone, I'm not going to get on with everyone in that pub. Because there'll be dickheads in that pub, and they might think I'm a dickhead, whatever.
But they wouldn't say
sound
you out
from nothing to make that decision. But so
as Taylor Swift said, Say it in the street, it's a knockout. Say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out.
Well, there you go. But the big thing about it
Joe, is
is...
the sound all right?
Doing good.
Okay.
The big thing about it is you're not going to get on with everyone, whether
No.
they're blue or they're not. And that's the issue. So we had when we were doing the Deadline Day live last week, you will have seen it. The meltdown of certain people on that live show was incredible. And one fellow was like, we haven't got a wing yet, we're crap with this, with that. Well, I was saying to him, we'll just wait till 5, because obviously we knew we were speaking to Iwobi. So we signed Alex Iwobi. He disappeared. So does he still think we're crap, even though we got the wide player in, or doesn't he? So people, there was a mad meltdown on Saturday, but it was only from a small number of people.
Yeah.
And Ped's right, that gets shared and shared and shared and shared. And you jump in and, you know, I had a disagreement with John Merrow about Gbamin. He was crap. He's lost in the headlights. He was this, he was that. Well, we've done the final word today, and I've put all the stats in. And Jean-Philippe Gbamin's stats aren't bad. So in fact, he's one of Everton's better players. Now, from the eye test, as the PIV will tell you, it looks a bit different. But people will have different opinions. Evertonians are probably... Listen, I was at Goodison when there was 8,000. So a lot stayed away because they thought it was crap.
I think
So people will moan.
People are always looking for negativities. I put a tweet out yesterday. I seen a Villa fan saying how boss Spurs was, and how you know, they all stayed after the game, and how it was really, really good. And I put, this is what Everton should do every game. And funny, Dan Mice has just messaged me saying, make sure you put that in the thingo then. In the consultation. And so, but the amount of people who just like, instead of just going, yeah, that's actually a sensible idea, they look for the negative. So people are like, oh, you know what'll happen if it's a bad game? People will just start giving grief to the players, and it's just like, why are you looking for the negative straight away? You know, like, the ale shite, why would I want to stay in there? And it's like, no one just, instead of just saying nothing, or just saying, yeah, I think that's, it's like, you don't, I didn't want, like,
you don't have to qualify your negativity.
you know, exactly, it was like,
you don't like it, don't
comment. I basically just said, I basically put, instead of the kids standing outside waiting for autographs, they could stand in the park and waiting for autographs and photos. There you go, there's a positive, and people are like, yeah, but people have a go at them. It's like, no, because the people who would want to have a go at them would have well left the stadium by then and would be in the Brick or the Winslow having a pint in there with their mate. They wouldn't wait in the parking, would they, to have a go at players?
I think what you'd get as well, it'd be self-police then. Yeah. Because if some fella's there going, you're fucking shit, you know that people who are waiting with the kids would be like, shut up, lad. Yeah. And idiots.
Kids here.
Kids and all that, like, and no, he's not, and blah, blah, blah. So, listen, people are always going to have their, you know, negative side and all that, and that's fine. But sometimes, just if you've got nothing positive to say, as your mother said, don't say anything at all. Conor Norton said, we'd enjoyed the weekend. Any updates on Gomez and Delph injuries? I've not heard anything about either. So I don't know whether that's... I don't know. The Delph one's a bit mad, because I would have thought we'd have heard something. Yeah. But maybe it's a little bit worse than we were led to believe.
Lucas says, sick light at the back. There you go. It's actually all the way round, but you just can't see it on the stream. Dave Wild says, do you think Zuma played for a transfer yesterday? Teddy Sass. Best name. Best name
for a patron.
Teddy Sass.
I bet you.
Go, you girl.
I bet you Teddy Sass can Roger do a Roger.
Can Roger? I'm sure he can, Roger.
Can do a Roger. Bants.
Do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
It's not let them Roger. He said, hello, fellas. Not too bad about the weekend. A load of stress flying about, which is a bit mad for the first game. We'll start... Get him a charger. You don't need to whisper.
Well, you were reading. I didn't want to interrupt it. Sarah's going.
But I think it'll take a few weeks, and it might have to grind some games out in the meantime. That's what we said before. Some of our play was decent, I thought. Seamus gets in great positions, but his decision-making on balls into the box are terrible and have been for a while. Drives me mad, but I still love him. I'm terrified by a lack of cover at centre-half, and I have got confidence in Mina and Keane, but ideally we needed 2 more in that position for me. It was interesting how vocal Marco was about it too. He didn't shy away from the question. I think he didn't shy away from the question because you are making a right arse of this, aren't you? Because he's not in charge of the transfers, and if he wants something done, he basically has to put it out there and say, I wanted one, they didn't get me one, and I'm unhappy about it. That's where sometimes that relation can be a little bit, can fray at the edges, is that he has to make sure that people know that he wasn't responsible for that, I think, or he's certainly making that known anyway.
Yeah, listen, they've tried, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he went, yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
He went to try to get Zaha, and Zuggy wouldn't let them. And
Well,
then,
it is, that's what they tried to do. They tried to go out and they tried to get another centre half, but they couldn't get one. They couldn't get one, Bass. Of course, you couldn't get one.
well, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, you've been McCarrigan too much lately, but you know. No, but listen, we wanted Zuma, didn't we? Should we have moved on from him? Possibly. But, you know, will we move on in January? Possibly, although if he keeps performing like he did yesterday, Chelsea might be throwing him in a garage sale at Christmas. But it is, listen, it is what it is. We've got, Mina and Keane are sound, and people are worried in case one of them gets injured, of course. But then that's where the Mason Holgate thing, you know, kicks in today, and that's what Marco Silva's talking about.
Simon Rouse.
Chainsaw.
Just loves it. Evening all. I hope we start our next game with Keane up front. Dominic Calvert-Lewin should be an option for later in the game, as we are struggling for goals and clearly isn't a goal scorer. Question is, will he ever be? Don't get me wrong.
Don't get me wrong. Sorry, I felt like it was an open
You
goal.
missed the quote. I dropped the Taylor Swift quote.
You did. Taylor Swifted us off.
Question is, will he ever be? Don't get me wrong, I do like him as a player, but shouldn't be played as a main striker, but as an option to bring with Charles and Bernard into goal scoring opportunities. If the way we are playing needs to be changed, it might seem harsh, but we need goals. So what are your thoughts on that?
What it is? No, well, we do need goals, don't we? We quite clearly need goals. We scored, you know, since pre-season.
Gary Ward, I know the video is very choppy, mate. I know there's nothing I can do about it.
It's
I know.
like we're in the sea, Gary. It's like we're in the Atlantic.
It's like we're in the sea. Like we've got on a very large ship and we're trying to avoid icebergs.
Choppy waters, Gary. Choppy waters.
Ironically, when the Titanic sunk, there wasn't choppy
very
waters.
still.
That's why they couldn't see the iceberg. Knowledge bomb dropped.
That's what you get here, patrons. That's why you love it. I forgot the question.
I
don't know. You went icebergs and choppy waters on me, Gary Ward.
He said basically Moise Keane should play Saturday. I don't agree with that.
I think the thing with Dom, right? The thing with Dominic Calvert-Lewin is he doesn't score a lot of goals. We know that because he doesn't get in the right areas. But the manager said after the game he'll only play Moise Keane when he thinks he's ready to go. And we don't want to throw him in and it doesn't work. Listen, I want him to play because we all want to see him. You know what I mean? We want to see the new players. It's the shiny thing, isn't it? We want to watch him. We want him to do well. Neil, listen, Moise Keane will play a lot of games this season, score a lot of goals. If the manager feels as though the best way to start against Watford at the weekend is Dominic Calvert-Lewin, maybe instead of coming on with 25 minutes to go at Goodison at the weekend, he'll come on with 35 minutes to go or 40 minutes to go. And take it from there and step it up that way. Maybe he'll fly in training this week without wings, who knows? And the manager will feel like he's got to play.
Still allowed to mention that man's songs.
Flying without wings, right?
Oh, no, that's the other fella. Sorry, I'm thinking of the other fella.
I was thinking,
Are you thinking Westlife?
What have Westlife done?
Okay. What haven't they done?
Well, that's for, I mean, that's for Marie to say. Well, why? What do you think of? Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
No.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Well, he's been arrested for it.
Believe him.
Yeah. Sorry.
We won't mention. He's literally the Voldemort.
Oh, we don't say his name.
We can't say his name on
Well,
Patreon.
you can.
Well, we can.
You can on Patreon.
Yeah, on Patreon we're fine. So yeah, the Voldemort of rap. The
Fella who was Voldemort in the first Harry Potter film is an Evertonian. There's the irony.
Why don't we sing Voldemort is an Evertonian?
Well, it was only the back of his head.
Oh. Okay.
So you've never seen the Harry Potter film?
I have seen. I'm literally.
You've never seen any of them, have you?
I'm up to 6.
Well, I mean,
I am literally up to 6.
they're not strictly numbered, but
Well, they are.
they're not. They're not.
Like,
They're literally not numbered.
Yeah.
Harry Potter and first one is Harry Potter and the Big Coat. Second one
It's
is
not the big coat at all.
second one is Harry Potter and the bag of fun. Third one is Harry Potter and the cloak that he wears to go to school. The fourth one is Harry Potter and the fella who's trying to kill him all the time. Harry Potter.
Guess who's in Disney World? And Harry Potter. Guess not Disney World because it's Universal. Mia Khalifa was in Harry Potter. Was she? Can help she'd have been there next week.
What, like, go on, what?
I'd have just said, there's me,
Exactly.
Can I have a selfie with you?
And then your wife would have said, who's that? And you'd have to go, she
a
plays football for
I'd
ladies
I'd have
teams.
said she's a porn star. Wanted the picture with them, your missus would have gone sound. Off you go.
Would you
Now,
go? What would you have said to your son?
She's a footballer.
Okay, there you go.
But Zach would have knows everything. So
What does he know how to fix tellies?
Yeah, just had a text saying me telly's broke us. Basically, me lad has volleyed the ball against the screen, and my screen now looks as if I've had a trip.
Basically, your son's gone full John Joe and just smashed it.
He has, literally.
Full.
Smashed. Should have done what he done, essentially, what Jack Grealish should have done at the weekend. He's leathered the ball through the telly.
Breaky blinders!
I mean, that's when you said that then, I honestly thought Grealish had come in and sat down.
There you go.
Anyway, right, back to what we're doing. Sorry, apologies. Connell Norton says, I know Bernard wasn't great, but I thought in moments he linked up well with Luca Dean in the first half on Saturday. Dominic Calvert-Lewin didn't get a sniff. He's very frustrating.
He's rubbish away from home. He is. He's rubbish away from home. At home, he's better.
I mean, we know if he's going to succeed, he's got to be good. Home and away, with Dom each day. Hey, what did you think about Bernard? I thought Bernard and Dean started really well and then just faded.
Yeah, I thought he faded. No, they did.
When did Phil Neal come in and sit down next to me?
Before.
We're in trouble down the right.
Yeah.
We're in trouble.
No,
down the right,
I thought they did. I thought everyone faded. I thought we started. Yeah. I think it's typical first game.
Was it? Yeah, it was very much the first game of the season performance. Do you think it was when Gomez went off and we didn't have anyone bringing them into play as much?
Yeah. We had no one in the middle of the park who could pass.
Spread the ball.
That's why I thought Tom might have been a better option.
Okay,
but, that's
sound. Terry McKenna says, don't forget the likes. You are right, Terry.
What are we on likes?
26.
26.
If we get 50 likes, Sarah will come over.
Sarah will come over if we get 50.
Literally but only
if we get 50.
Only if we get 50.
I'd introduce Joe Shorts, but I don't think we could take Joe Crotchcam today, so...
Crotchcam is only for like a Thursday, so you've got the whole weekend to recover.
Yeah.
Unless you're from Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein?
No, Lithuania. He's going to done Liechtenstein.
He's going on Liechtenstein?
If you're from Lithuania, you want Crotchcam all day.
Oh, Liechtenstein's boss. That's my favourite part of America.
There is a cracking place.
It's a boss.
It's a cracking place.
Well, it is, quite literally, it is very much like Wales is different from Scotland. Very much different places.
All right, Keith Van Santi.
Keith Van Santi, the Dutch.
The
bounty hunter.
Bounty hunter is back. Everton can win this game against Watford. They're coming off a bad loss. We need to take advantage. Well, it's not a question. It's just Keith.
It's a statement.
He's literally.
I'd let him
bounty hunted us off.
Yes, he's fully.
But he's right.
Dogged us off.
Absolutely right. Thomas Jennings says, "All right, boys, do we need to form partnerships? I don't want to see mix and match every week."
Mix and match. When did we buy him?
He can play centre back.
Isn't he from Iceland?
Mixu match.
Mix and match.
Is he Mixu Plataland's cousin? He wants us to go back to the Baines and Peanut days. Is that important that there's a lot of partnerships formed throughout the team?
Yes, partnerships all. See, I've just done a close up of my hand. Yes, partnerships all over the pitch. You've got to.
Okay. Tim Whittle says the lads are back. We are. Tim Whittle also
says...
Guess
who's back? Back again.
Back again.
We is back. Tell a friend.
There you go.
Tell a friend. Tell a friend. Join Patreon.
Yeah, do that. Tim Whittle says, against Watford, we should be looking to get to the byline. And Fizz.
Who's he, John Barnes?
Listen.
Who's he, John?
You've got to do it at the right time. You've got to slow up that, but you must get through the line. You've got to fizz low crosses in, which will result in chances. And we'll win a corner, which could result in a chance. Thoughts? Word.
Lucas said.
Get to your thirst.
Get to your first fast.
Tim Whittle said, Tim Whittle, we just wrapped what Tim Whittle said, but what are your thoughts on getting to the byline, fizzing low crosses in, which could result in a corner?
But couldn't it result in a goal?
I think it could. Well, I mean, if Abdoulaye Doucouré's in the middle, it could. Yeah. What do you think?
I'm thinking...
We have got to get round, we have got to hold and give and do it at the right time and get round the back. You are right. because Watford, listen, Watford are going to come and sit. We all know Ben Foster is turning in to the greatest keeper in the world, like he does twice a season when he plays against Everton.
Why have you gone Trump?
Because that's... No one's done anything like that. That's what Ben Foster does. Garbage for 36 games.
We're going to get to the line. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. The man
Only
who
if
knows
he's
all my
busy.
secrets may have died in New York over the weekend. He did, didn't he? I'm not saying
Evan
anything.
Osborne says, we looked a lot worse after Gomez went off.
Is
Hopefully...
he from Italy as well?
He is.
Hey, what's the matter with you, Gomes?
That's Mario, isn't it, surely? Hopefully his injury isn't serious. We look impotent through the middle with Siggy so far off the pace at the
Well,
moment.
I mean,
Maybe Marco or Marcel will come up with the Viagra for Gylfi. Who knows? Although we should
why
not
did you
marry.
flounce the
Because I
Viagra?
just thought of someone, and I didn't want to say it. Keith Van Santi's back, the bodyguard. Bounty Hunter fella. 39 people watching, 6. Like, come on, guys. More likes, and you'll see Sarah. There you go. LA Walkways said, hello. Graham Price has said, any further updates on the Gomez injury? No, mate. So if you hear in a minute, tell us. Paul Thornton says Gylfi needs to be replaced on Saturday.
What? No, he doesn't.
Saturday?
No, he
That's because I
doesn't.
looked at Sarah.
He doesn't. Honest, it's the first game of the season. Come on. That's just as bad as saying Gabarman should never play for Everton ever again. It's as simple as that. Don't fall into the trap. It's the first game of the season. Players need to get into a rhythm, and Gylfi more than anybody. If you can tell me who's going to replace Gylfi's goals from last season, I'm all ears. I'm quite literally a giant ear.
He said, bench him for Bernard or Iwobi.
But Iwobi hasn't done any pre-season training, so you're effectively saying to Iwobi, right lads, go and throw him in the team. I don't know any of these players. I only trained for a week. Come on.
He needs to know he can't have any more lackluster performances. Keith Van Santi says, nah, Gylfi has to play, can't bench someone after just one game.
There you go.
Russell and Graham both say hello, Ped.
Hi.
There you go.
That's because you weren't here when we started
Well, that's all
the
right.
stream.
I'm just telling
You
you.
were too busy flouncing out there.
I was making a drink for you,
Yeah.
which I brought in, and I was talking to Sarah. Tim Whittle says the British Empire was built on cups of tea. There you go.
I had coffee.
Stephen Kelly says the video's all good. DC, I thought I was going to say DCL then. DC71 says, until we get to the point when we only need a couple of signings in the summer, we're going to need time to settle in each season. Absolutely right. It's just part of the building process. Tim Whittle then has said, well, in Ped, tell him. I'm presuming that's because you shouted at me when I came in with your drink.
did.
Nice one, Tim. Nice one for the support. Danny Hayes said...
Supporting the show.
He is, to be fair. Danny Hayes said, should Tom Davis be worried that he wasn't brought on for Gomez? I was surprised Silva went for Gabarman, given he's not ready. Should Tom be worried? Or should he just be disappointed that he wasn't the first
All he can
pick?
do is, when he gets on, is do something. He might start on Saturday, have a good game on Saturday.
Okay.
That's all you can say, isn't it?
Next one, isn't it?
If you play Saturday, do well Saturday. That's a big chance at home against Watford. Play well. Try and keep your shirt. That's all you can do, isn't it?
Okay. Phil McBoobs says, don't you think they should just look at the feet for being offside or not? What about the head, though, Phil? Because you can score with your head as well. I'm being...
What about your heart?
I mean, I know you can score with your heart, but it's...
No, what?
No, but you know what Phil's saying, is should it be feet that are ahead and then you're offside? Or should it... Or...
No, I honestly feel like there has to be... It's difficult. It's a real difficult one, because if we're going with such precision now, maybe you've got to look at it and say, like, the stream's gone all fuzzy there, by the way. That there's enough sort of, I don't know, something that's so clear that no one can get a gripe with it. Because like we were saying before, it's that thing with frames, the frame rate. Well, then maybe it's got to be not a certain distance. That sounds stupid, but if two bodies are together, I don't know. Maybe the daylight, is that too much?
It definitely needs to change, I think.
See, Sterling there, right?
Yeah.
He'll work every day in training to get that run, so that he is going past the defender, so that the defender can do nothing because it is so close. And then suddenly you're saying to him, well, actually, the closeness is undefinable by the human eye, essentially. So what does he do? Because literally 5 out of 10, he's going to be offside.
Yeah. He is.
And that's something he's been doing all the time.
I mean,
That's an amazing freeze right there.
It is on that one. Danny Hayes says this game shows that we are not at the level that we were towards the end of last season.
No, we're not. And why,
However,
we
Anthony hasn't finished.
We wouldn't be.
However, we've dominated the play away from home with 10 men and not lost. I'll take that now. Let's smash Watford. Was that something that was to be encouraged? Even after we lost Sneijderlin, we still seemed to be the team that was pushing for the win. They only had sporadic attacks, really, and that was through Zaha's.
Do you know if we'd scored in the first half, I think we would have gone on and won that 3-4-0.
Yeah,
easily.
I do.
But it's that getting that first goal for us, which seems to be the big problem away from home.
I think if Gylfi would have slotted that in the opening minute, I think
we win that comfortably. Because then they've got to throw everything at us, and we're a better counter-attacking team.
And they had nothing to throw at us, did they? So, Keith Van Santi again says, after the game Zuma had at United, would you take him back at Everton?
Yeah, because it's one game, isn't it? It's one game of football, the first game of the season. I think people see. You know what you told me before about. I think we all have to remember that expectations and what we put on people. First game of the season, first game. Yes, the very best can go out there and win them and be comfortable, but even them, they're going to be a little bit not at their peak, are they? You don't peak first game of the season.
And the other thing, I suppose, as well, is for Zuma, if that he spent the pre-season not really wanting to be at Chelsea. Let's be honest, we know that. We know that from how Everton were hanging on for him. And so if he's not quite at it, do you know what I mean? Not saying he's not gone out and gone, I'm not going to play well here.
Zuma isn't the world's best defender.
No.
But when he was at Everton, he was in a system that worked.
And he was next to Michael Keane.
He was next to Michael Keane, and he knew what his job was. Maybe his job's changed at City, at Chelsea, and he's suddenly got to start doing something that he's uncomfortable with. Look at like when Sylvain Distin played for us. Brilliant defender, ball over the top, he was onto it. Then Martinez says to him, I want you to pass out from the back. Suddenly he falls to bits. That milk round went kaput.
Oh my God,
honest to
the
God,
milk round. He'd been all right up until then.
Tennis coach, milk man. Numerous jobs as well as being a footballer.
Took a lot on, didn't he?
He
took a lot on.
Suddenly then it was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Skim milk everywhere.
Everywhere.
What a mess.
There was no room for full fat milk anymore.
There was no room. Well,
he wasn't. And the cream.
Ask Tony Duggan.
Tony Duggan wasn't getting the cream, apparently. So someone said. I mean, I don't know. It's
full fat yogurts everywhere.
Everywhere. Charles Brokaw says stream acting a little bit sluggish for me.
Yeah, it is. I apologise. It's
as long as you can still hear us, Charles. You're not really missing.
I mean, you're not. And it just looks like one of those videos where it's like maybe it's slightly muffled. Would be no one like to get like Ross Kemp could be in here asking us about gangs.
I feel sometimes when it goes sluggish, it's like we're on the space shuttle.
That's how I like to think of it.
Yeah,
like we're in the space station, and we're basically orbiting around the Earth.
That's what it is.
Talking about Everton. That's
or
the way I like. That's the way I like to picture things.
Let's be honest, this is what NASA did with the moon land. So we just get some tin foil behind us. We can pretend we've been to the moon. Get a jar marshmallows in the cupboard for you two.
I like to picture Jesus in a t-shirt tuxedo saying, I'm formal, but I'm here to party.
There you go. There you go. LA Walkway, James. All right, lads. All right, Jay. Cumbrian Toffee says, good evening, fellas. Super Brew winner 2019. Listen, like I said to you the other day, Mark, it's a marathon, not a sprint. But well done, you're ahead.
It's a jog.
It's a jar.
It's a jive.
Oh, it's a jar? That's not a
jive. That's a titan.
It's a titan.
Okay.
It's
not a jive, it's a titan.
There you go. Sarah's in the house.
Sarah's over there.
How do we get the best out of DCL? Would it be more beneficial if wide players, fullbacks, whip the ball into the penalty box?
But when they do, though, he never reacts.
No.
He never reacts.
So how do we get more? I know you're a big fan of him. How do we get more out of him?
As I've said before, I think at home he's got it to a T at away. Yeah. No,
he hasn't.
He hasn't. He did it again on Saturday. There was a ball in the box, and the centre back was allowed to flicker away because he just didn't get onto the fact. He didn't react. He doesn't. He's got to start reacting quicker to the ball.
I think it's just he's literally got to expect mistakes, hasn't he, and try and get himself in.
Like you said loads of times. How do you teach that? How do you teach that?
James, LA Walkway again. I had a debate today with the Piv over DCL. ultimately strikers are based on goals and he can't hit a barn door. Working hard is the bare
I
minimum.
don't think it's not that he can't hit a barn door. He doesn't get into places that he's trying to hit a barn door.
He doesn't miss many chances, but he doesn't get many
Doesn't
chances.
make chances.
So
He never gets in the right area.
no.
But
I know what you're saying. Ultimately, he will be judged on goals because we need, as proven, Spurs have proved, Man City have proved, Liverpool have proved this weekend, Arsenal have proved this weekend. Your strikers have to get amongst the goals for you. And for Everton to progress, we have to have someone who, when it's 0-0, can get us that goal to win us a game. Dom's got to get better at getting himself in them areas to be that person for us.
Yeah.
And ultimately, if he doesn't, he won't be in the team. Because Moise Keane will get in those areas.
right, come on, let's smash through these comments now.
Come on. You must have some on Peyton.
I haven't got many.
Okay, well, listen, get your comments in before we finish.
Toffee
then.
Boy says, need patience with all the new signings. Don't repeat the Kuma mistakes of 2 years ago. Introduce them slowly. Absolutely spot on. Go on, you go through.
No, I've just gone through them with
Are
it.
they all there?
Because it's unable to connect on my thing, so I'm refreshing and there might be other ones there. But I just think with Dom, I think what the manager will do is he'll go through the good things about the weekend and the bad things about the weekend. But ultimately, he will have a plan in place so that we're going to see Jean-Philippe Bamman's been talking there after the game and says, or it might have even been today, and said, I know I have to get faster. This league is quicker than what I'm used to, so I've got to speed up. It's stuff like that, getting him to that level where, you know, everything he does, he can do and concentrate on just playing his game. He's not having to worry about, am I doing it quick enough or I might get caught. He just naturally settles into how he plays. Moise Keane the same.
Keith Van Santi says, lol, you guys are hilarious. Dutch bounty hunter. My mum's Dutch, my dad's Samoan. I was born in New Zealand, now I'm an American. My dad's a huge Everton fan. There you go.
What a story.
There's the story for why you're a bounty hunter, essentially. So basically what you're saying is you're basically the Dutch Rock, the Rock.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And that's why you're a bounty hunter.
That's it. Bounty hunted us off.
John Crellin says, if after 10 games we have 18 points, we will be doing okay. That would equate to 70 points for the season.
Yeah. That'd be. I think we need, personally, I think we need to hit 65 points at minimum if we're going to try and get into Europe, whichever guys that is.
Terry McKenna says, will Ped rob the TV out the studio? Well, it's not my telly that's broke.
Yeah, it's my telly.
Passes.
I'm not going to steal a telly.
Teddy Sass says, to get offsides right, they need cameras positioned at least every 10 yards down the line, as giving the decision on an angle can be misleading. That's science.
Science.
I agree to a point, Teddy. Almost like, no, they need, genuinely. You know those cameras that they have for photo finishes? Like the ones that run up the, go per track. They need one of them that keeps basic. But imagine it in football.
And it
with
fires
football.
lines.
It'd be like, wee, wee, wee. So I just think that they might need to, if you're gonna, you don't need the offside rule to be so definite when you've got a camera giving you the decision. Do you know what I mean? It's not. It doesn't need to be by like millimeters. You can say, well, let's have it so that there's, I don't know, 3 inches. Let's just say an inch, 2 inches offside, so that you know that there's almost like a what am I trying?
That your version of 3 inches.
No, that's the wrong one. What's the thing? No, when people say there's a variation. You know, like when you have a pole and they go, there's a.
What, like the swing?
The swing. So let's say.
The swing on.
Let's say when a ball leaves someone's foot, right? You have the sign then the frames, right? So that offside can be wrong to a swing of so many. Millimeters.
Yeah.
So let's have the offside so that swing is within it. So when when you get that offside, you go, well, he's definitely offside because when the ball left his foot in this frame and that frame and that frame, he's definitely offside. But in this frame, he's not. So therefore, he can't be offside. So whatever that swing is in terms of inches, you would say someone has to be offside by 2 inches.
Yeah.
And therefore, you get it right every single
Every
time.
yeah.
And because it is done by computer, no one can say, oh, no, that's wrong. That's the way I look at it.
It's going to have to, isn't it? Because it is a little bit mad. Tim Whittle says Nathan Broadhead with 2 goals for Burton. Done really well to score.
I've not seen them yet, but apparently the first one's a worldie.
Yeah. Well, good luck to the lad. I hope he continues like that because he'll develop then. He's not going to develop in the 23s at his age. You know, he'll just become Matthew Pennington or someone like that. Or Conor McElhenney. So he's got to go out and do well. What I would say about Broadhead is he'll work hard because he does work very hard. So if he can put all his games together, then who knows? I'm still not convinced he will do it for Everton. I don't know whether he's at that level, but we'll know more by the end of the season. If he has a really good season, he could have gone up a level and then he becomes someone who goes into the conversation then about maybe being on the bench or whatever. So we'll see, but great start for the lad. Luke Garbutt scored again. He did. Second week on the run. Incredible.
Right, guys, we're going to end it there.
Okay.
We've done an hour.
Yeah.
Loads of comments. Big thanks. Sorry if it's been a bit juttery. My laptop's trying to edit the final word as this is happening. So, yeah. So blame the fact that that's trying to get so many videos out here at once. That's the problem. But you heard us, and that's the main thing. We'll be back tomorrow for live at 5. Don't blame. Actually, today it was Sarah. Yeah. Rabbiting on. I want to do this, and I'm going to say that. And there you go. That's exactly what she sounds like.
Just the same.
So, big thanks to everyone for joining us, and we'll see you later.